Welcome. Welcome to another episode of the New York Double Play Podcast. Today we got a lot to go over. Aaron Judge and Pete Alonso are on absolute fire right now to start the 2025 season. So we're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into Brett Baty concerns with the New York Mets, Edwin Diaz and Devin Williams, both with shaky outings last night. But both teams so far so good. Yankees off to a good start. Mets just a half game back in the NL East to the Philadelphia Phillies. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the Mets, then we'll hop into the Yankees. So before we get into Pete Alonso's red hot start, and nobody needed a hotter start to 2025, I think, in the entire MLB than Pete Alonso. So we're going to get into that, but I do want to start off with the negatives for the Mets. The negatives is outside of Pete Alonso, nobody has been getting hits. We haven't been able to get the big hits. We've been putting runners on, which is a good sign. The pitching has been fantastic outside of a little blunder from Edwin Diaz last night. But really, outside of Lindor, Alonso, and Juan Soto, the offense just hasn't been too productive. And even Juan Soto, he hasn't really done too much Juan Soto stuff. Like, Soto only has 4 RBIs right now on the season. And Lindor, he has been red hot in his past 8 games now. He's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game hitting streak right now for Lindor. So he's putting all those slow start birds to sleep. But the bottom of the order, like Brandon Nimmo, let's go over right now. You got Lindor hitting 244, like I said, on that 8 game hitting streak right now. So that batting average will only continue to rise as long as he's doing what he's been doing. Juan Soto hitting 279 right now. He's got an OPS of 846. The on-base percentage is exactly where you want it to be. It's a 404 right now, but only 1 home run and 4 RBIs. And we're still 8-4 without Juan Soto really going off, which I think is a great sign. Pete Alonso hitting 333 right now. He's got a 1.118 OPS. He's drove in 15 runs. He's hit 3 home runs, 14 hits in 12 games, 5 doubles, scored 7 times, and he's only struck out 5 times in 51 plate appearances. So Pete Alonso is doing exactly what you want him to do and more. But here's the issue with the Mets. Here's where it gets tricky. After those 3, you're not getting anything. Like Brandon Nimmo, he has been getting hits in clutch spots. But outside of that, Brandon Nimmo isn't doing too well. He's got 7 RBIs, 2 home runs, which is nice, but a 623 OPS, a 245 on-base percentage. He's batting 200. Starlin Marte hitting 235 right now with a 412 slugging percentage, 391 on-base percentage. So that is pretty good. You do like that with the 803 OPS, but that batting average you would like to see rise. But let's say even Marte finishes the year with like a 240-ish batting average and an 803 OPS. I think you would kind of like that. I love guys who go 800-plus OPS. I really don't care about your batting average if you have an 800 OPS plus. Now, if you're like a Jeff McNeil or a Brett Baty or, let's say, a Tyrone Taylor, I'd rather see you have a higher batting average considering we know that their slugging percentage isn't going to be too high. But let's get into that. Mark Vientos, somebody that we all were kind of expecting him to come out of the gates firing. I mean, he hit 27 home runs in 111 games last year, went off in the postseason for the Mets in 2024. But so far this year, he's been a dud. He's been an absolute dud in the lineup. Now, he has put together great at-bats. He's hitting the ball hard. He's making hard outs, so you do like that. But so far through 12 games, I mean, his numbers are terrible. He hasn't come through in the big spots. And Mark Vientos was a guy last year who came through in a lot of big spots, especially in the biggest of them all in the postseason. So through his 12 games right now, he's only got 5 hits for a 119 batting average, 2 doubles, 1 RBI. He's only scored twice, a 412 OPS. Not too good for Vientos right now. And Brett Baty, I'm going to save his numbers for last because a lot of people are concerned about Brett Baty, as they should be, but I don't think we should be as concerned considering what I'm telling you right now. Like, when you listen to all the numbers from the bottom of the order, it's not great. Tyrone Taylor is not a guy you're expecting a lot out of offensively, but I mean, we're expecting better than a 308 OPS, a 154 batting average. And then Hayden Senger, I mean, he's giving you good defense. I can't lie there, but a 222 batting average with a 541 OPS. When Alvarez comes back, there's no question Senger's getting sent down. And Alvarez, luckily, playing some rehab games. He's looking good on the offensive side. Defensive side, I haven't really seen too much, but, defensively, we don't really care. Francisco Alvarez, if he hits, we don't care. He can don't make errors, but Francisco Alvarez, he's here to hit. He's going to be here to hit. So we do need Francisco Alvarez to hit. So because so far through 2 years, he hasn't really done much. Like, he's been inconsistent. He had 25 home runs his rookie year, but his batting average was terrible. His on-base percentage was well below 300. So we need Francisco Alvarez to be more consistent when he comes back. But Louis Torrens, I mean, you can't complain about Louis Torrens right now. He's dealing with a contusion. So once he's healthy, it will be a plus for the Mets because he's been hitting the ball well so far early on in the year, and his defense that he's provided. I mean, when he's out there, there's no question he's one of the best backup catchers in the game. But let's talk about Brett Baty, because Brett Baty is the concern of a lot of people's eyes right now. A lot of people are even calling him to get sent down, which to me makes no sense because, I mean, let's go over Acuna's numbers so far. And I'm not saying that, if I had to pick one, right, to stay on this roster when McNeil comes back, I'm probably going to say Luis Angel Acuna. I get the people that want to say you want to see him get reps at 23 years old in the AAA, but at the same time, we traded for him 2 years ago now. We've seen enough in the minors. I don't care if he doesn't get reps in AAA because I want to win at the big league level. And Acuna could help this team win more at the big league level than Brett Baty could. That's basically all it is. I mean, if Acuna's hitting 158 and Brett Baty's hitting 111, who would you rather have? Would you rather have a guy who doesn't give you anything defensively, doesn't give you anything on the base running? I'd rather have Acuna, who, one, I think he's going to do better than a 158 batting average and a 449 OPS that he has right now through his 10 games. And like I said, defensively, he's a standout defender at second base. He can play shortstop if Lindor goes down, God forbid. He can play third base if Vientos goes down, God forbid. And like I said, I've talked about him all offseason. I think he's the best athlete in the entire Mets organization. He's that good of an athlete. So I think he could pick up a center field glove in the outfield. So point being is, if Acuna and Baty continue to struggle, when McNeil comes back, which is going to be in a few weeks, it's going to be by the end of April, I think it's Acuna who stays up. So it's really Brett Baty's going into this year, it was Brett Baty's last chance to prove himself. You went off in spring training, doesn't mean anything. We've seen that before. But we need Brett Baty to produce at the big league level. Right now, in his 10 games, he's hitting 111, 3 hits and 27 at-bats. He hasn't worked a single walk. He's struck out 11 times. He's getting behind in the count. He's getting fastballs first pitch down the middle, not swinging at it, not pulling the trigger. And then he gets behind in the count and he whiffs on a slider out of the zone, a curve out of the zone, sometimes a high fastball. 11 strikeouts through 10 games. Okay. Not great, but it does happen in today's MLB. A lot of players strike out a lot. But when you don't work any walks, because he has zero walks produced so far, and you only have 3 hits, and you got an OPS of 259, that's not too well. And I get both sides. It's early. I made my point earlier. Everybody at the bottom of the lineup, they're doing absolutely shit right now. None of them are doing well. So I can't just point my finger and blame Brett Baty for this lineup being terrible right now. But I can't just ignore Brett Baty being terrible right now, because let's go over his numbers in 2024. 50 games, 171 plate appearances. He hit 229 with a 633 OPS. In 2023, he put up a 598 OPS, a 212 batting average, and 389 plate appearances. And then in 2022, 42 plate appearances, 184 batting average, 586 OPS. So we've seen it for 4 straight years now. This is the 4th year of Brett Baty. He was once a top 50 prospect in all of MLB. He's been a top 5 prospect year in and year out with the Mets. But he just cannot click it at the major league level. And it sucks because he's going to get sent down to AAA if McNeil comes back and these numbers continue to look terrible. Because you'd probably rather have Acuna with his versatility on the base paths, his ability to get plugged in late game situations when you need a defender out there at second rather than McNeil. No knock on McNeil as a defender at second base, but Acuna is better. So I think Acuna has more upside that he can give this team rather than Brett Beatty. So I love the potential of Beatty. I have always loved the potential of Beatty, but I think this is it. Like playing against the A's in Sacramento this series, I think Beatty probably gets one game. I would say he gets the Sunday game against Luis Severino. But outside of that, I'd rather see Acuna go Friday and Saturday. I think everybody would. Let's see what Acuna can do. And if Acuna rakes, if Acuna hits, then you got to think about even starting him Sunday and just saying, you know what, Beatty, your time here is done unless we see another injury. But he's going to go back down to AAA if this continues. And he's going to go right back down to AAA and do what he does, and that's rake in AAA. But if you're not raking at the big league level, and I'm not even expecting him to hit 300 plus like he does in AAA and hit multiple bombs in every few at-bats and have a 900 plus OPS like he did in the minors, just give me like a 250. Like anything above a 250 batting average, anything above, I'll even lowball the OPS. Give me a 690 plus OPS. 690 plus. Is that too hard? So I think Beatty's his days are numbered, and I hate to say it because, like I said, the entire bottom of the batting order hasn't produced. But Tyrone Taylor has a track record of producing. Mark Vientos has a whole season of last year and the playoffs of last year. That's his track record of producing. So even though he's not producing, you have that track record. Francisco Alvarez, at least he had 25 home runs. So when he comes back up, if he struggles for his first few games, one, he's coming off a wrist injury. Two, he has a little bit better of a track record than Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty doesn't have the track record. So as much as I want to say, oh, it's not just Beatty. It's not just him. Look at the entire outside of Lindor, Soto, and Alonso, nobody's hidden in this lineup, including Beatty. But based off Brett Beatty's track record, never having an on-base percentage in a single season above 300, never having over a 700 OPS. At some point, you just got to say it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. So, his problem is it's obvious. It's glaringly obvious. In spring training, he was attacking early in the count. He was pulling that trigger. So far, he's getting great pitches to hit early on in the count, but he's taking those pitches. And when I see that, I hate saying it because I'm just a fan, but I hate saying this, but the moment just looks too big for him. That's all it is. Like at the big league level, for some reason, it's too much pressure for Brett Beatty because you see what he can do when there's no pressure. He can rake. He has that potential. But when the lights are shining, Brett Beatty does not produce. He doesn't produce. And that's his problem. You fall behind in the count, pitchers are going to give you their best stuff after that. They're going to give you their put-away pitches. I always tell my JV team right now, I say, you start the account off with 0-2, even 1-2, you can give them that put-away pitch. You have the ability to throw a slider out of the zone, a curve out of the zone, a changeup, or even a high fastball. I love the high fastballs. I think that's the best put-away pitch in my opinion. But that's what Beatty's fallen into. He's fallen way too behind in the count. That's why he hasn't worked a single walk. That's why he struck out 11 times in just 27 plate appearances. And that's why he only has 3 hits. So something's got to start clicking for Brett Beatty this weekend. Or once Jeff McNeil comes back, I think he goes down. Because like I said, even if Acuna continues to struggle at the plate too, at least he offers you more of an upside with his versatility on the base paths, your ability to plug him in late game situations for McNeil. All right, but let's talk about Jeff McNeil because Jeff McNeil should be back by the end of April. And I think McNeil could be a real spark plug for this team. Everybody loves to hate on Jeff McNeil for some reason, but, he's not the former batting champion that he was in 2022. But Jeff McNeil, you got to give him a lot of credit. I feel like he was the most underrated Met in that second half turnaround last year. You look at his stats after the All-Star break, which I believe was, I want to say, July 16th. So let's go stats after July 16th in 2024. And you look at his numbers. The guy hit 289 after the All-Star break, 7 home runs, 20 RBIs. He scored 22 times. He had the second highest OPS on the Mets in the second half outside of Francisco Lindor. Jeff McNeil, after the All-Star break last year, put up a 923 OPS, arguably the best stretch of his career. He had more pop in his bat than we've ever seen before outside of the 2019 year, but that was juice ball era. So McNeil looked the best he's ever looked in the second half. And I know it's only one half of a season, but he made adjustments, and those adjustments worked. So when McNeil comes back, I'm not expecting him, like I said, to be that former batting champion he was that hits above 300. But if he can do what he did in the second half last year, or even just a little bit of it, let's say he hits 280 plus with an 800 plus OPS, that's really good production from a guy that's going to be hitting probably 7th or 8th in your lineup. That's going to be really good. So I would love for Jeff McNeil to get back as soon as possible, because I want to see our second baseman look like a major league player. Like, I don't even care about hitting 300 plus, like I said. Just look like a major league player, because right now I love Acuna. Like I said, the upside that he has is insane. But Brett Beatty hasn't done much either. So far, our second basemen have done shit. They have done nothing. So once McNeil comes back, take me away. Take me away. And let's see what he can do. If he can match what he did in the second half, I think we're going to have a really good year out of this offense, because that's Pete Alonso, who's red hot right now. Juan Soto, who we all know, hasn't even looked his best, right? Juan Soto, we're calling it a rough start to the year, but the guy's hitting 279 with over an 840 OPS, with an on-base percentage of 404. And that's a slow start for the year for a guy like Juan Soto, which is insane. If anybody else does that, if Brett Beatty was doing that, we would be saying this guy has made it, right? That's the crazy part about Juan Soto's numbers right now. Lindor's on an 8-game hitting streak. He doesn't look like he's going to get off to another slow start like he has in the past. It looks like we're going to get Lindor clicking right away, and that's huge. That was a guy who was top 3 in MVP voting just last year, finished right behind Shohei Ohtani. So he actually got some first-place votes too, which is insane because he was that good. So if we get those three with Jeff McNeil, with Brandon Nimmo, who's going to start to heat up, with Mark Vientos, who looks like he's right there about to break out, that gives you 6, I would say, all-star level players, at least on the cusp. You got 2 MVP caliber players in Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor, potentially another one in Pete Alonso, because we're going to touch on it in just a sec with the red hot start he's had and why I think maybe not the 333 batting average is sustainable for him, but I think this type of year is sustainable for Pete. But with those 3 guys, you got Brandon Nimmo, who should have been an all-star at some point of his career. I mean, he hit 270 for 3 straight years, had over an 8. He has a career 808 OPS. So Brandon Nimmo is one of the most underrated players, not only on the Mets, but in baseball. But that's a topic for a different day. Like I said, Mark Vientos, 27 home runs in 111 regular season games last year. Postseason was ridiculous. And then you got Jeff McNeil as well. And then I think our DH, Jesse Winker and Starlin Marte, that platoon that we've been working with right now, I think they will start to heat up. So really it's 7 really good hitters. And then anything you get out of Francisco Alvarez will be a plus. If Francisco Alvarez hits 240 with a 700-plus OPS, and he goes off and he hits a bomb every 5 days, that's huge as well. So this Mets lineup has a real chance to be so deep. And the best part about the Mets lineup is we're putting runners on. We are putting a lot of runners on. We are not capitalizing with runners in scoring position. But the best part about the Mets not hitting right now is because, eventually they're going to hit. They have too many good players in this lineup not to hit. I think the best part about this lineup, or this team in general, is they're not hitting and they're 8-4. They're only a half game out of that first place spot in the NL East. Phillies are 8-3. Mets are 8-4. So, and another great part is we're going to be playing in Sacramento. We're going to be playing in Sacramento, California, where the weather is nice, so there's no more, it's too cold. We can't use that as an excuse. But the pitching has been fantastic. And before I touch on the pitching has been really good. The Mets are first in runs allowed this year, by the way, with 2.7 per game, a 2.10 team ERA, which is first in all of MLB. They've only allowed 6 home runs, which is first in all of MLB. Pitching has been fantastic. Hidden, not so much. If you look at the numbers hidden-wise, we're 22nd in batting average with a 210 batting average. We're 293 in on-base percentage, which is 22nd in all of baseball. .349 slug percentage, which is 21st in all of baseball, 21st in OPS with a 642 OPS, 20th in home runs with 9 home runs. Like, the offense has done shit. It's done absolutely nothing. But top 10 in hits allowed with 6.8 per game. Number 1 in runs prevented, 2.7 a game. Like I said, the 2.10 team ERA, which is first in all of baseball. And then top 5 in K per 9. We got 9.93 strikeouts per 9 innings out of these Mets, which is 4th in MLB. So, been really good. And at home, they've been great. Home, I mean, what a homestand for the Mets, 5-1. So, early start. We got another soft opponent in the Athletics. But let's get in with Pete Alonso and why I think this is the best version of Pete Alonso I've seen. And I know it's only 12 games, but look at the numbers. .333 batting average, .451 on base percentage, .667 slug percentage, 1.18 OPS in those 12 games, 3 home runs, 14 hits, 15 RBIs. 5 of those 14 hits are doubles. 3 of those 14 hits are home runs. So he's got 8 out of his 14 hits are extra base hits. He's driving in runs like we all know. He has been he has the most RBIs in MLB since 2019, since he's been in the league. So he's probably a top 3 run producer in all of MLB. So this shouldn't come as a shock that he has 15 RBIs. But here's the difference. Here's the best sign, I think, for Pete Alonso's early success. Because the .333 batting average, the .451 on base percentage, that is going to drop. We all know that. But Pete Alonso is not just going to fall off the face of the earth right now. Like, even though he's off to a hot start, he's not just going to fall off the map. Because here's what I like about Pete Alonso so far. You look at his numbers last year, and even in 2023, the problem was striking out, right? He was like Brett Beatty, like I said before. Pete Alonso was getting behind the count. Pete Alonso was swinging at bad pitches, the slider out of the zone, the curve out of the zone. That was Pete Alonso's kryptonite. Last year in 2024, career high in strikeouts. He had 172 strikeouts. In 2023, 151 strikeouts. 2022, I would say, is his best year, even better than his year that he had in 2019. Because in 2019, he did hit 53 home runs, drove in 120 runs, but he still struck out 183 times. When you look back at the 2022 Pete Alonso, what he did so well was, one, his plate discipline, his pitch selection. He was great at that. His batting average was up, too. It was a .271 batting average. He had a .352 on base percentage, an .870 OPS. He still hit 40 home runs, and he led the league in RBIs with 131. But he only struck out, this is the best part, this is my favorite stat, only 128 times. Even in 2021, he only struck out 127 times. So Pete Alonso, when he strikes out, he sucks. When he's chasing bad pitches, he sucks. But so far, it's like Juan Soto has rubbed off on him, which is to no surprise, where Pete Alonso is not swinging at the bad pitches. He's being patient at the plate. He's not afraid to go the other way as well. He has numerous extra base hits that are the other way. Just the other day, he went 2 for 4 with 2 doubles. One of those doubles was the other way. His home run, his big home run to give the Mets the lead the other day, just last week, it was the other way. He hit that ball the other way. And Pete Alonso's doing that. When Pete Alonso did that in 2022, like I said, he hit .271 with 40 home runs. The home runs will come because we all know how strong Pete Alonso is. As he would say, he's a big, strong guy. So, listen, I expect those numbers like the batting average, the on-base percentage, the OPS to take a slight dip. But, like I said, only a slight dip. I still think Pete is going to have a very good year because in his 51 plate appearances, he's only struck out 5 times. 5 times in 51 plate appearances. He's walked 7 times. He's seen a lot of pitches. His at-bats are very long. So I think Pete Alonso is not going to hit .333. He's not going to hit .333. He's not going to have a 1.18 OPS the whole year. But I think this is going to be might be the best year of Pete Alonso that we're going to see. Because Pete Alonso looks absolutely locked in. It looks like even after Vladdy got that contract, it looks like even before that, mix of words there, before Vladdy got that contract, it looks like Pete Alonso he just wants to go off because he wants to stay in Queens. Like, he feeds off. The fans love him. Like, the fans absolutely love him. Like, we love Francisco Lindor. They love Juan Soto. They love Edwin Diaz. They love Mark Vientos. But I don't think there's more of a beloved Met than Pete Alonso. Because one, he's homegrown. He was drafted by the Mets in the second round. He came up in 2019 and broke Aaron Judge's rookie home run record. Like, there's so many, the home run last year to save the Mets seasons. Like, there's so many moments throughout Pete Alonso's now 7-year career that Mets fans have just adored and loved him for. So for Pete Alonso to be doing this, if he has a breakout year again, every Met fan is going to be screaming. They're going to be calling into Sports Talk Radio. They're going to be tweeting off their asses saying this guy has to stay a Met for life. He has to. Because nobody, even if Vladdy didn't get his extension and Pete Alonso went off, I guarantee you 85% of Mets fans would be saying, and that's include me, would be saying, we'd rather Pete Alonso than Vladdy. One, for value. He's not going to cost $500 million like Vladdy just signed for. And two, he's Pete Alonso. He's Pete Alonso. So, like I said at the start of the show, nobody needed a hotter start than Pete Alonso. And for him to come off a terrible year last year and then just come out of the gate swinging so far has been great to see. The at-bats have looked completely different, polar opposite at-bats from last year. The strikeouts, they're dipping. The walks, they're rising. And the extra base hits going the other way with the baseball. Pete Alonso is doing everything that we love right now and more and more. So hopefully he continues. Like I said, I expect that batting average, that on-base percentage to dip. But I still think he's a guy who has 270-plus batting average, 850-plus OPS, 40-plus home runs. I mean, he hit 40-plus home runs and drove in 115 RBIs 3 out of the 5 full seasons that he's had. So I like it. I like it. Now let's talk about this pitching. This pitching staff that the Mets have right now, going into the year, everybody was nervous. Now every start, like Griffin Cannon is getting the ball tomorrow night against the A's, a late game, 10:05, which is nice because I kind of like the 10:05 game, a little selfish of me, but I'm going out to eat with my girlfriend. It's our 4-year anniversary today. So we're celebrating our anniversary tomorrow. And I love the 10:05 game because I can take her out to eat. 8 o'clock, go out to eat dinner, have a good, maybe a few beers. Who knows? Come back. We're going to Uber. Don't worry. Come back to the house. Turn on the Mets game. Maybe drink a few more beers and have a good Friday night, a date night, and then a Mets night. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be perfect. So I get to watch Griffin Cannon tomorrow. And Griffin Cannon, a guy who led up the most earned runs in the American League last year. Last year with the Angels, 32 starts, 5.19 ERA. Terrible year. So this guy signs with the Mets, and we're like, whoa. I know we have a great pitching lab. I know Jeremy Hefner is one of the best pitching coaches in MLB. Do we really trust Griffin Cannon? Do we really trust the Mets pitching lab to turn this guy around? So far, so good, though. So far, really good. In his 2 starts so far, pitched against Houston in the first series, only allowed 4 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 4 across 5.2 innings of work. Against Toronto, so these are 2, in my opinion, very good lineups. Astros have Yordan Alvarez, Jeremy Pena, Jose Altuve. Like, I can go on and on about the Houston Astros lineup. Toronto Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You know, they got Bo Bichette, who's having a good bounce-back year right now. Anthony Santander, not off to a great start, but last year he did hit 44 home runs. Andres Jimenez, former Met, that I personally think is one of the most underrated players in baseball. George Springer off to a hot start this year. He shut down that lineup too, only allowing 4 hits and 1 earned runs, and struck out 6 of those guys in that start. I would like to see him go deeper into games. He only pitched 4 innings against Toronto, 5.1 against Houston. So I would like to see all pitchers in this rotation go deeper into games. But Griffin Cannon is one of those guys where if he gives you 5 to 6 innings, it's good innings, like 2 to 3 runs, get him out of the game, put this elite bullpen in, because this bullpen has been fantastic. Max Kranick, Max Kranick is slowly becoming one of my favorites. He is slowly becoming one of my favorites. In 5 games, 9 innings pitched right now. I mean, he dominated in spring training. And like I said with Brett Beatty, I take spring training with a grain of salt for hitters. But for pitchers, it's more legit. I see a pitcher like Max Kranick trying to prove his worth, and he goes out there and he dominates. Like, this guy earned a roster spot. And then not only did he dominate in spring training, but he's been dominating. He hasn't allowed a single run. He's only allowed, how many hits has he allowed? I mean, he's only allowed 2 hits. 2 hits so far through his 9 innings. That's a lot of innings to only allow 2 hits. No runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts. He's got a .22 whip, a 0.00 ERA. Like, Max Kranick's been going off. How could you hate Max Kranick? Like, grew up a Mets fan, missed the past 2 years, hasn't pitched, like I said, since 2 years ago at the MLB level. And Max Kranick is he's just awesome. There's nothing fancy about him. There's nothing flashy about him. His velo is there. He's got some good off-speed pitches, but there's nothing where he just blows you away. But he gets outs. He has been getting outs. 9 innings pitched. Like, you look at his game log and he's going multiple innings, which is awesome. That's a huge part of, like, his value for the Mets right now. I mean, he went 2 innings against Miami, only allowed 1 hit. One of the 2 hits he's allowed, 2 strikeouts. Against Toronto in his second most recent appearance, 1.1 innings, 1 strikeout, no hits, no runs. And then against Toronto on April 4th, 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Against Miami, 3 innings, no hits, 1 strikeout. And then his first appearance this year against Houston, coming into a bases-loaded situation, 0.2 innings, no runs, not even, when you come in, obviously, you let up a run, and that runner's accounted for somebody else. Not even like that. Max Kranick has been fantastic. Fantastic. So this bullpen has done great. AJ Minter, outside of 1 blunder so far, he's been pretty good where he fell down. I mean, our bullpen's been dominant, and that's without Daniel Nunez. Daniel Nunez should be back pretty soon. He's pitching great down in the minors right now in his rehab assignment. I mean, Brazoban, kind of starting to get a little shaky from Brazoban, but he's still pitching decent. He's still giving us some good outings. Edwin Diaz, I mean, he had a blunder yesterday. The velocity was down, but it was very cold, so I'll give him a break there. The only reason I'm giving him a break, though, is because we're off to a great start. We're 8-4, and he only allowed 2 hits yesterday. Just one of them happened to be a home run. The walks do have to minimize with Edwin Diaz. I mean, he had his first 2 walks of the year last year, so when he walks guys, it's never good. But he's had now 5 appearances against Houston, 1 inning, clean inning, 1 strikeout. Against Miami, another clean inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Against Toronto, he only allowed 2 hits, but after those 2 hits, struck out 3. Clean in there. Against Toronto again, a day later, 1 strikeout, 1 inning. Like, Edwin Diaz has done good outside of 1 blunder. Unfortunately, now his ERA went from 0 just 2 days ago, and now it's a 5.79, because that's what happens when you only pitch 4.2 innings. But the velocity was down, but I'm not too concerned about the velocity because it was frigid yesterday. It was like 32 degrees at Citi Field yesterday. It was a cold game. I'm not worried about Edwin Diaz. I'm not that worried about Edwin Diaz. So if it happens again and again and again, I will be worried. But I'm not too worried about Diaz right now. But the Mets bullpen has been fantastic. Mainly Max Kranick. Mainly AJ Minter. Ryan Stanek has been phenomenal. I mean, he's building off his great tail end of the year last year. I mean, he's only pitched 4 games, but in those 4 games, he's been nothing but clean. 1 inning against Houston, no runs. 0.1 innings against Miami, no runs. Another appearance against Miami. Well, in the last 4 days, he's had 2 appearances against Miami, 2 innings. In those 2 appearances, 3 strikeouts, no runs. So Stanek, Kranick, a little bit of Diaz outside of 1 blunder yesterday, Minter. I mean, this bullpen has been fantastic. It's been fantastic. Even Danny Young. I'm not confident when Danny Young goes out there to pitch for the Mets. But, I mean, outside of really his first appearance this year, Danny Young has actually been relatively well. I mean, the Mets haven't really asked him to do much. He hasn't pitched multiple innings like these other guys, but against Houston, 1 inning, 1 hit. Against Miami, he let up 3 hits, let up the 2 earned runs. But then he had Miami again, .1 innings, 1 hit, 1 run allowed, but it was an error. And then against Miami again, 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs. Against Miami, 2 more times, 1.1 innings across those 2 appearances, no hits, no runs. So even Danny Young has been doing good outside of one outing. So this bullpen and starting rotation is going to come back down to earth at some point for the Mets. But when that happens, we can expect the bats to also take a step up. And I don't expect the pitching rotation to take such a big step down where they're just going to start losing. I think they're going to take a step down, but I think it's going to be a minimal step down because I have a lot of trust in Tyler McGill. Tyler McGill has looked fantastic. Like, I know he had a little bit of a shaky outing, but, I mean, you look at his numbers this year, .63 ERA through 3 starts. He's only allowed 1 earned run. The walks is what kills him. We need to see Tyler McGill go deeper into games. He pitched 5 innings against Houston, only allowed 3 hits and 1 run, 6 Ks. Against Toronto, 5.1 innings, 2 hits, only 2 hits. That's insane. 4 Ks. And then he goes 4 innings against Miami, 6 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts in those 4 innings. Tyler McGill has been fantastic. Clay Holmes had a fantastic outing. I mean, he did let up 4 runs, but 2 of them came in his final inning of work in the 6th inning. I mean, he still finished with 10 strikeouts that game through 5 innings. Through 5 innings, he was 10 Ks, 2 runs allowed. I would have just pulled him right after that. Thank you for that, Clay Holmes. Pulling you out. Let's go to the bullpen that's been so dominant. But Mendy wanted to get a little bit more out of him. He was a little greedy. Can't knock him, but it made the start look a little bit less of what it was. Great start. Clay Holmes is having a great start. I mean, so far against Houston, minimized the damage, 4.2 innings, 2 earned runs. Against Miami, 4.2 innings, 1 earned run. And like I said, against Miami, 5.1 innings, only 5 hits allowed, 10 Ks. Walks have really killed Clay Holmes so far. He minimizes the walks. He's going to be good. So we got Holmes, we got Cannon, we got McGill, Kodai Senga. Kodai Senga looked great. Kodai Senga didn't have his best stuff. I saw him pitch live, actually, at Citi Field on Monday night. Kodai Senga pitched amazing, in my opinion. I mean, he only struck out 4 guys, but only 2 walks, 5 hits allowed, 5 innings. Anytime a runner got on first base, it felt like it was just a double play. So Senga pitched well, and then he also pitched against Miami on April 1st, and he only allowed 2 earned, 4 runs overall on some Francisco Lindor surprising errors, but only 3 hits allowed, 5 innings, 8 strikeouts. So far, Senga this year through his 2 starts has a 1.80 ERA. So Senga, Cannon, McGill, Clay Holmes, I mean, and David Peterson, who we're going to get to see again this weekend. David Peterson is off to a pretty good start to the year. He's 1-0 with a 2.53 ERA. He had a great game against Miami in his first outing, struck out 9, only allowed 5 hits through 6 innings. Against Toronto, had a little bit of an upset stomach, but 4.2 innings, only 1 run allowed, 3 hits, 5 walks that killed him, got his pitch count up there, but overall kept the Mets in position to win, and they did actually pull off a 2-1 win. So between the 5 guys we have right now, Sean Manaea should be back at some point in June or July. You know, maybe Brandon Sproat or Blake Tidwell makes an appearance to make this a 6-man rotation because the days off are going to start ending soon for the Mets. Whereas today we have this day off, works out for the rotation. Kodai Senga specifically doesn't have to pitch every 5 days, but soon he's going to have to pitch every 5 days unless we add another arm in this rotation. And it's not Frankie Montas. It's not Paul Blackburn. It's not going to be Sean Manaea because they're all out. It's going to have to be Blake Tidwell or Brandon Sproat. So pick your poison unless the Mets want to go with a bullpen game. Maybe you start Max Kranick for 3-4 innings, and then you give us, after that, maybe Ryan Stanek, and then maybe Daniel Nunez is hopefully back. He's a multi-inning guy. So the Mets got to get creative or just roll out, Senga every 5th day. But overall, Mets look good. They're not hidden. They're 8-4. They're playing the A's this week. They should do some damage against the A's because the A's right now, they're 5-8. You know, they're the Athletics. Hopefully Brett Beatty can take advantage of the minor league stadium. All right, but the Yankees have been facing some very good opponents, and they have another challenging opponent coming up this weekend. Tomorrow, they start a 3-game series with the San Francisco Giants, the red-hot first place, well, now second place in the NL West. San Francisco Giants were 9-3 to start the year, 8-2 in their last 10 games. They'll be facing Robbie Ray on Friday night, and Robbie Ray, respectable career so far. He missed a lot of time due to injury in the past 2 years. But before that, in 2022 with 3.17 ERA and 189 innings. In 2021 with Toronto, 193.1 innings, a 2.84 ERA. So Robbie Ray is a respectable pitcher. He started off this year 2-0, pitched against Seattle, allowed 1 earned run. And then in his first start against Cincinnati, 3 hits allowed, 2 home runs allowed across how many innings? 5.1 innings. So he's a respectable pitcher. That home run ball does seem to kill him throughout his career. Yankees have a very home run happy lineup, so hopefully they can hit some home runs against Robbie Ray. They'll be having Marcus Stroman on the hill for them, who needs a bounce back start. Will Warren had a shaky start in his most recent outing, but also had a very good outing in his first outing against Arizona. He made his debut this year. 5 innings, 1 hit allowed, 2 earned runs on a home run. But Will Warren had a tough year last year in his 6 games. So far, 2 games, 1 shaky, 1 really good, actually. They'll be going up against Jordan Hicks on Saturday at 3:05. Same thing, Jordan Hicks, respectable pitcher. Last year with the Giants, 4.10 ERA, but in 2023, he had a 3.67 with the St. Louis Cardinals, and then he also pitched for the Toronto Blue Jays and had a 2.63 ERA in the stint with the Blue Jays that year. So, again, good pitchers they're going to be facing. And then Carlos Rodon facing his former team in the third game of this series against Logan Webb. Like, they're facing respectable pitchers. Logan Webb has been fantastic in the past few years. A 3.47 ERA last year, 3.25 in 23, 2.90 in 22, 3.03 in 21. So since 2021, Logan Webb has been one of the most reputable pitchers in this game, in the sport. So the Yankees facing another tough opponent, more tough pitchers. The problem with the Yankees this year has been striking out. When they hit the home run ball, when they hit 2 or more home runs, the Yankees have won every single game this year. They are living and dying by the home run ball. They're pitching, outside of Max Fried, I don't really trust any of these starters. I don't think Carlos Rodon has looked great. I don't think Marcus Stroman, Will Warren. I don't think Carlos Carrasco will continue to do what he did just the other day. I don't like this rotation outside of Max Fried, and that was a concern of mine. I'm not going to sit here and hit the panic button, but the Yankees, they beat up on the bad teams. They have beat up on the bad teams, and that's what you want them to do. The Mets have beat up on the bad teams. But against the good teams, they haven't done too well. They're going to be facing another great team this weekend in the San Francisco Giants. So let's see what the Yankees are made out of. Like I said, when they hit 2 or more home runs, they win every single game. But they also strike out a lot. They strike out a lot. Just yesterday, in the 4-3 win, the Yankees struck out 13 times. 13 times. Luckily, Ben Rice lifted them to a victory along with Mr. Aaron Judge, of course. 9 strikeouts against Detroit on Wednesday night, or I should say Tuesday. And then Monday against Detroit again, Yankees struck out 8 times. So they've been striking out a lot. They've also been hitting a lot of home runs. You look at the Yankees so far, their team stats, their offense has actually been pretty well. They're first in runs scored this year. They have 6.8 runs per game. They're third in hits per game with 9.3. Third in batting average with a 265 batting average. 346 on base percentage. 509 slugging percentage, which is first in baseball. First in OPS with an 855 team OPS. Second in home runs with 26 total home runs. Like, this Yankees offense has been phenomenal. The pitching, though, has Sucked. That gets the complete opposite from the Mets. Pitching sucks, offense great. At some point, this offense is going to come back down to earth. It's already started to come back down to earth. I mean, scoring 20 runs early on in the year really helps them with their 6.8 runs per game. They're not going to score 6.8 runs per game every game. We know that. But they have pop. They have more pop than I expected. Now, the one thing I'm worried about in this lineup is Cody Bellinger. It's Cody Bellinger. I am worried about Cody Bellinger. He's got a 206 batting average, a 562 OPS, 1 home run, only 7 hits in 9 games. He struck out 11 times. He's the one guy I'm actually worried about in this lineup because he is coming off a down year. Paul Goldschmidt's having a great start to the year, 383 batting average. He's raking 431 on base percentage, 511 slugging percentage for an OPS of 942. He's got 18 hits in 12 games. He's only struck out 8 times. So Paul Goldschmidt's doing great. Aaron Judge he's red hot, 354 batting average, 446 on base percentage, 792 slugging. He's got an OPS of 1.238, 17 hits in 12 games, 20 RBIs. Judge is raking. I mean, Trent Grisham, out of nowhere. Ben Rice, he's been hitting the ball well. Just yesterday, he hit the home run, 2 RBIs, 1 hit. Ben Rice now hitting 306 on the year with a 1.086 OPS, 11 hits in 11 games, 7 walks as well as on-base percentage, 419. So things I expect to continue to do well for the Yankees, like guys in the lineup, I think Aaron Judge, obviously. Ben Rice, another guy. Paul Goldschmidt, I think he's going to do well. Trent Grisham, can he be a spark plug? He's not going to hit 340 plus, but can he be a spark plug? Probably. He's got that type of energy. But we need to see more from these specific guys. Cody Bellinger, you need to see more of. Jazz Chisholm Jr., you'd like to see some more consistency. Jazz Chisholm right now is hitting 180 with a 255 on base percentage. He's a guy who I was saying he's going to have a breakout year. He's making me look like an idiot, so I'd like for Jazz to go off a little bit more. Jason Dominguez, I mean, outside of a few home runs, he hasn't really done too much. He's hitting 205 right now, 8 hits in 19 games, a 295 on base percentage. You'd like to see more out of him. Anthony Volpe, I mean, he can hit 234. His OPS is 874. He's got 4 home runs. He's got 11 hits in 12 games. If he hits 234 and he's getting on base at 32% of the time with an 874 OPS, and he's hitting the home runs he's got 12 RBIs in 12 games, Anthony Volpe is actually having a pretty good year. Like, his start to the season, batting average doesn't look great, but he's getting on base. He's hitting the ball deep. He's got multiple extra base hits. He's got 4 home runs, 3 doubles. So, I mean, this torpedo bat for Anthony Volpe is really benefiting him. The batting average you love to see increase, but like I said, if he's doing what he's doing all year, which I think that could be Anthony Volpe. If he hits in the 230s to 240s, but he gets on base more than he has in the past, just 32% of the time, and he hits for pop, that's pretty good production out of your shortstop, a lot more than they've gotten in the past 2 years out of Anthony Volpe himself. So Austin Wells, you'd like to see get going a little bit too. I mean, his first few games he was red hot, but his batting average has taken a huge hit. He's hitting 189, 7 hits in 11 games. He struck out 10 times in 43 plate appearances, 711 OPS. Like, a lot of these guys in their lineup after the first series have started to slow down outside of Aaron Judge, outside of Paul Goldschmidt, outside of Ben Rice, and outside of Anthony Volpe. Everybody else is slowing down. The pitching hasn't been great. So I'm not hitting the panic button on the Yankees yet, but I don't think we should just buy into the hype of the New York Yankees after smoking the Milwaukee Brewers in their first series, scoring 20 runs, hitting 9 home runs. That's great. One game doesn't guarantee you a playoff spot. The Yankees, I am still a little worried about them because of their pitching rotation, because of their lack of depth in the bullpen. I mean, outside of Luke Weaver, Devin Williams has looked shaky. Devin Williams looked shaky at the tail end of last year and into the postseason. He was tipping his pitches. Is he tipping his pitches now? I don't know. But there's something going on with Devin Williams because he sucked to start the year. Like I said, outside of Luke Weaver, I really don't have faith in anybody in this Yankees bullpen. Like, there's no Jay Cousins. There's no Jake Cousins right now. That's another guy that you don't have. I like Tim Hill, but Tim Hill isn't necessarily, a lockdown reliever. Mark Leiter hasn't looked great as well. He's got a 5.79 ERA right now. So the Yankees need help from somebody out of the bullpen besides Luke Weaver. Because you look at their numbers right now. Let's go down the line in this bullpen. Yoendris Gomez has looked pretty good so far, but he hasn't pitched too much. So, 6.1 innings, it's, decent amount, but not too much. 3 Ks, only 1 run allowed so far. He's pitched to a 0 ERA, actually, right now. He's pitched really well. But, outside, do you really trust him that much, though? Because you look at his numbers throughout his career in 2024, he only made 5 appearances. 2023, didn't even make an appearance. He was on the team, but he didn't make an appearance. So Luke Weaver's really the only guy you trust. Ian Hamilton, a little bit, but only 1 inning so far out of Ian Hamilton throughout the entire year. Tim Hill, he had a little bit of a blunder just the other day. Against Arizona, he let up 2 earned runs, just only got 1 out. They had to pull him. Not good. So Mark Leiter, 5.79 ERA. Ryan Yarbrough, he's got an 8.44 ERA right now, 1.2 innings of work. On the 8th, just 2 days ago, he let up that home run ball, 2 hits. Outside of Luke Weaver, I don't know who you trust out of the bullpen. And then the starting pitchers, outside of Max Fried, you look at their numbers, it's terrible. Like Carlos Rodon is a 5.19 ERA. Carlos Carrasco, 7.71 ERA. Will Warren, a flat 6 ERA. Marcus Stroman, 7.27 ERA. And then Max Fried, like I said, he's the only one pitching. He's got a 1.56 ERA. He looked phenomenal the other night against Detroit. Just yesterday, only allowed 5 hits, struck out 11 across 7 innings. But that's expected out of Max Fried. The other 4 guys, their track record says they suck. And so far, they've sucked. And the bullpen, like I said, outside of Luke Weaver, there's no one you really trust right now to go out there and get you a clean inning. So on the offense has slowed down since the first series. Like I said, outside of Aaron Judge, Paul Goldschmidt, Anthony Volpe, and Ben Rice, nobody in this lineup has hit after the first series in Milwaukee. So I'm not hitting the panic button on the Yankees yet, but I am starting to get worried. I am getting worried for the Yankees. I can't lie. Their pitching stinks. Their offense, I don't think it's as good as everybody thought it would be after that first series. And they need answers from Devin Williams, because he was brought in here to be that all-star, superstar, best closer in baseball that he's been since he entered the MLB. And he hasn't. They need more from Austin Wells. They need more from Jason Dominguez. They need those 2 young guys to contribute. Ben Rice and Anthony Volpe, like I said it before the season, they need 2 out of 4 young guys to really produce. And this lineup might be able to be pretty good. And the lineup is pretty good. So far, they're getting 2 out of 4 guys to produce out of those young guys. It's Ben Rice and Anthony Volpe. But we all know that Austin Wells has it in him. We all know that Jason Dominguez was the top prospect for the Yankees the past few years. They need to perform like we kind of expect them to, even just a little bit better than what they're doing now. They're both hitting, Dominguez hitting 205 and Wells hitting in the 180s. That's not cutting it. Cody Bellinger, he was brought here to produce. He was brought in here. Everybody expected him to be the second best hitter in the lineup. He's doing nothing right now. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is doing nothing right now. So, and then again, they're going up against the Giants again. Not again, but playing another great team again in the Giants. So, I don't know, man. We're going to find out who the Yankees really are these next few weeks. Because either they need to make some moves for pitchers, or maybe swing for the fences for a third baseman. Because it's getting alarming in the Bronx. Let's see what they do against the San Francisco Giants tomorrow. 3-game series kicks off. Mets 3-game series kicks off tomorrow night at 10:05. We got Griffin Cannon on the bump for the Mets. We got Marcus Stroman on the bump for the Yanks. Baseball comes back in New York tomorrow night, baby. All right, we'll probably go live probably after the Mets game since I'll be up. Why not? All right, that's it for me. Deuces.